My mentor, Quasi-senpai, Brian Scott, did a video on this as well, and I just wanted to share my thoughts. How do I feel about AI, especially in regards to the mystical and Neville Goddard? I understand a lot of people have fear of AI, and a lot of people feel they hate it, but I do see in a lot of tests that a lot of people can't tell the difference. And while I have sometimes seen AI used in a brilliant way, where people add their own creativity, their own signature, their own stamp, and maybe they bring some of these teachings to a broader audience who might not have normally been interested in the teachings. But I would say the things that might be the darker side of it would be when people say clone Neville's voice. They make him say things he didn't say. So some people might lose the true, genuine, powerful teaching. And instead, they think modern day woo-woo is what Neville's all about. And if it's basing a script on, say, like ChatGPT, just spitting out some summary on LOA, but then it's being put in Neville's voice and or his image, and then people don't really come to see the real teachings of Neville. I know when I first started reading Neville, it was a bit difficult for me because I wasn't used to all the biblical talk. Maybe I hadn't been reading for a while, and the English sometimes sounded a little bit more dated. But I couldn't turn myself away from it, and it really revolutionized my life in many ways. Maybe I haven't won that big lottery jackpot yet, or whatever that's symbolic for. But certainly, the dark life I lived before, feeling very much behind the eight ball, it really put me on top of that eight ball. And still to this day, to not be half-assed about it, but in the right way, to really live the teachings. In full circle, revolutionize my life. But for certain, it really did turn a dark life into a much lighter life. Not to say I still haven't had my trials and tribulations. But growing up, I was very suicidal, and I was sure I would end my life by 30, until my half-brother did it at 31, when I was still in my 20s. And then my other half-brother would also do it, and my uncle had already did it, and even just a few years ago, my other paternal uncle did it. So you could say for a long time I had thought I was cursed. And reading great teachings from Paramahansa Yogananda to Nisargadatta Maharaj, even Joseph Murphy, to Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, I really feel a big healing took place, and it washed a lot of those dark thoughts out of my mind, that I left that state. And now, to really connect with my soul purpose, and learn not to be distracted, or let the mind get caught up in the wrong things, and thus manifest more of what I don't want, just like all of us continue to do and become better at doing. But I do realize it feels like an avalanche of AI things, and that some are getting very successful. But when I've read a lot of Neville's works for quite a while, even the really good ones, I can feel, hey, that's not his words. And the interesting thing is some of these channels are really doing well, going viral. But who's to say? If mine or similar channels don't appeal to some users, but to users on a mass level those channels appeal, is it doing good for them or not? I know we live in a time where we can have information overload. And I think one of the common things that can happen with information overload is a sort of paralysis. We don't actually have to go out and need to live our life, because in our mind, we can just sit there and watch content after content and feel we're living. And some say that this can really hijack the dopamine. And then to actually read Neville's words, or to set out and actually put it in application and have the patience, if it doesn't happen overnight, can set the mind up to just turn back to something that's easier, just consume content. So don't get caught in that loop. Even with myself, and even with really brilliant people I've known, I've seen at even times in their life, they got addicted to something, whether it's games or porn or the internet. And a lot of people realize, they notice it. So many people are watching their phones or their iPads or on their laptops and computers. In some ways, it's so amazing, and there's no limits. But people now are starting to realize some of the consequences, that they're half living their life or sometimes not even living it. And they lose the connection with the people. Some people feel they lose those certain neural pathways to be able to do things that take more effort, that take a while before you get a reward. And that when you don't have that something atrophies, something's missing in life. When you don't have that satisfaction that comes from noble work, noble efforts. So until we're like a master, like an Abdullah or Neville, and even Neville for a long time had said he's not a master. He sometimes made mistakes. I'm guessing towards the end of his life, when he had that promise, the divine realization, whatever you want to call it, that he had mastery enough. It wasn't about using the law and getting material things anymore. And I understand in Neville's times, maybe they had certain things that were similar, but it wasn't like today. I hear some people saying the world we live in today seems so unrecognizable from even when we lived in our childhood. So I can imagine in certain ways that are profound how different it would have been from Neville's days. He already had great discipline, being a Broadway dancer that traveled the world. He already came from a family that was somewhat strict in upbringing teaching. But today, we don't have that kind of strictness. And of course, in some ways, that's good. But in other ways, if we're too coddled, we're too softened, we're too comfortable, that any kind of challenge feels too overwhelming. That's part of the reason I think some people struggle to get what they want. And then when you're in fear and panic, you're more likely to try to manifest from that and put too much effort. As you know what Neville taught, if you try to do things with too much effort, what do you get? You get more struggle. And when some people are too close to the problem and they try to manifest from fear, they'll tend to condition things and limit themselves. In any sight of an obstacle, it will be easy to turn around. And don't get me wrong, these are all things I have struggled with as well. And it took me some time to really process and understand it, to go on a little bit of a sabbatical and not be posting all the time. Not unless something inside me really compelled me to post. I didn't want to add to the noise. I didn't want to be another creator to just steal your attention, just to make a buck or something. Because I always have this feeling that what you put out comes back to you. But as Neville said, in Caesar's world, we still do have to pay our taxes. But I wonder if we caught the feeling, what would it be like if we lived in a world that kind of took the best of what was, what is, and what's to be, or is based on a different model, with more balance and equality and joy and peace, and that could stand the test of time and beyond time, where we were spiritually awake and really lived from all the possible great powers that we've seen in other great mystics, that they were everyday modern things. I know that many mystics have said life is kind of just like a blink of time and really beyond time. But while we're here, we wake up every day, we have another birthday. It does seem to go on. And while we have this wonderful gift of the imagination, and we can use it to catch the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to manifest reality, then it's a good practice to have every day, especially those poignant times as we drift off to sleep and or when we wake up and we're still a bit sleepy, but conscious enough to ask ourselves, what do we want? And I find you can even ask the depths of your being, the cosmic universe, whatever you want to call it. Is this for my greatest good, the greatest good of my loved ones, the greatest good of existence? And often I can feel some sort of a divine answer. And if I don't, that's okay. You have to just let it go and trust. Some answer will find you, maybe a video you watch, some other kind of synchronicity. And sometimes you just have to let yourself go and go on a little bit of a sabbatical. Instead, just go out and learn to see real things, seeing people's faces, seeing nature, smelling the air, hearing the traffic or the birds or crickets, feeling the breeze of the sky. If you've lost touch with that because you got lost in an internet world, this will help you come back. Because I think balance is so important today, and to be clear on what we want, and to have that motivation to do whatever needs to be done, to meditate or have those imaginal sessions. Whatever it is, you feel the depths of your being guiding you, that little voice, that intuition, especially when you feel stuck or lost in life. And sometimes it may feel it takes some time and processing, but go easy on yourself. Don't resist it, because resisting or beating yourself up or trying to blame another is just going to perpetuate what you don't want. And when you know this, and this keeps coming back to you until it really sinks in, then you can start to close the door to suffering or discomfort and start to open the door to your real peace and joy and success and a full life and a connection to something beyond the body and mind, beyond space and time, to know your immortality, your all-knowing, ever-new, continuous, blissful nature. That which was before this earth, before your lifetime, that will continue, whether you find yourself in wake dreams in higher realms or one with the absolute beyond words. So I can see where AI can be like a double-edged sword. It can be used to do amazing things. It already does. A lot of people don't realize how AI is already in our life. When you use your cell phone, your email, when you go to the store to buy things, all these things we take for granted or we don't even realize are all done with artificial intelligence. Even in Japan, we have robots that come and deliver our food. We have iPad screens, all using artificial intelligence to place our order. When we want our dessert, we can just press something on the iPad. But I can also see the other side of it. How nice it is to have human interaction. And maybe we didn't realize this until we started to lose it and start to have all this AI and start to see so many people glued to their cell phones or who are glued to different addictions, especially online, movies, porn, surfing, whatever it might be. But if the world is us pushed outward, what could this message be saying to us? Is there something we're neglecting? Or is there something we're resisting? Or something from this, from the fires, to be born, an even more divine, wondrous light, blessing? As Neville also said, we're always contracting to ever expand. So be careful what we judge, what's bad or good, because who knows what it gives birth to. What's more important is, what are you occupying most of your time with? Where are your thoughts throughout the day? Are you worth the investment to set multiple alarms just for a day, a week, or however long you feel? And when that little alarm goes off, to take note, whether it's on your phone in a little diary or a physical diary where you write or record, what were you thinking in that moment? What was your predominant feeling? Because that's going to show you your future. And if you pay attention, you can start to see the echo in your life. And that gives you the key to be able to open the door and to realize not only how valuable the instrument of imagination is, but how valuable your time, your awareness is. Where are you giving your time? Where are you placing your awareness? What are you paying attention to? What are you mixing with? What are you becoming one with? When you feel, you're becoming one. And whatever that energy is, it's going to grow in your life. And a lot of these things we can get very intense with. And when we see kind of scary things online and it can make us talk to other people and feel we have to do something, we've given our power away. And we're letting it be perpetuated and turn into a big scary monster, just like Neville even in his time encountered. In his case, he conquered it with love and understanding. Do you feel you're giving your power away? If you're not feeling peace and joy and living the life you want to be living, see where you might be giving your power away, what fears you might be accepting. And when you go to bed at night, learn to revise that. What would the opposite be? How would it feel if that opposite was so? And that feeling, that frequency, that vibration, that state, marinate in it a bit as you fall into sleep. Some people can even take a simple scene, the Grand Slam home run. What would it be? Maybe you see a world where you walk, and it's almost like the depiction of what heaven would be. Flowers and birds everywhere, and everything abundant, and all the people you pass, the warm hellos, and feeling in a bodily vessel that's full of light and joy. How would that feel? Can you imagine if you had the discipline to sleep in that mood? But whatever it is that moves you, whatever it is that the depths of your being is trying to say to you, is trying to show you through your wants, your deep wants. Treasure those times into sleep, that liquidy time when you're sleepy but the mind is still conscious but too sleepy to resist. And learn to make those images. Since you're here in Caesar's world, aka 3D reality, as Neville said, learn to use that imagination of yourself. See if feeling is really what rules and manifests everything in this world, which can include envisioning, visualizing, because those things move the feelings. And the feelings are what move us like an airplane into the different states of consciousness until we're able to gel and have that out picture. Just like when you go to bed at night and you have a dream, what during your day influenced that night dream? And those things that are influencing your night dream, when you constantly see a regular theme, that can show you the future attractions of your life that will pop up in reality. If you like it, fine. And if you don't, then be more aware where you're giving your attention during the day, what you're allowing yourself to mix in, whether it comes from your own self-talk, or the people around you, or whatever you're seeing on TV or the internet. So in the end, although some things in Caesar's world can be really concerning, just use it as a motivation to feel more the end that you do want instead, to sleep in that mood, to be a part of the healing, the redemption, and through this, to learn to trust and to surrender. Just about everybody, if not everybody, has had some time in their life where they felt safe and happy, and even on top of the world. Remember that feeling. And in remembering it, we bring that state alive. And as we continue to drink this divine wine, let the world around us change shape to reflect this earthly heavenliness. So be discerning what you give your attention to. Go right to the source when you want to learn these great teachings. If something genuinely inspires you, then by all means continue. But if something is tugging at you inside, then listen to that intuition. Personally, for me, I feel a lot of AI is either not well done, or it's missing soul, or just something feels off. But once in a blue moon, I might come across something that does use AI that is inspiring. So take the best and learn to walk away from the rest. I'm Lila of Nevillution, and I thank Brian Scott for inspiring this video.